Sometimes I feel we oversleep is because it's a compensation for something that's not working well in our body. Why are you so lethargic? Like you have to follow a circadian as an individual, as a human, as somebody who's a living being on this planet. Eat your carbs. I'm not against carbs. I'm not against sugar. My battle is not against that. It's the quantity and the timing. You don't wake up and need to eat food. We're creating something in longevity and performance. So we want to club both of it together. That's our plan. We've been reading, blogging, researching. Like I want to call it Longevity Performance Center at some point in time where we work on human lifespan, not in terms of the age, but in terms of the quality.
Mogambo, Muscuya.
Today, we are joined by someone redefining what it means to be fit, mind and body. Huzefa Talib, better known as Coach Mogambo, is one of the few certified strength and conditioning specialists in India and the co-founder of The Outfit, a machine-free functional fitness movement that's changing the game. From banking to breaking into the top 10 at Mr. India 2014 to coaching national athletes and a franchise women's cricket team in Bangalore, Huzefa's journey is as bold as it is inspiring. He's a firm believer of it's all in the head. Whether it's busting fitness myths, coaching with purpose, or building a community around movement, Huzefa is leading from the front and talks about mindset, movement, and meaningful change.
Hi, Huzefa. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be a part of this podcast.
Mutual feelings.
Yes.
I'd like to know a little bit about yourself and who you are at your core, and also if you could take us through your childhood.
Childhood, a very typical one, middle class family. Monday to Friday would be around books, tuition, study. Saturday, Sunday, go out, play as much as I would want to, come back home on time for dinner. That used to be like a significant part of our growing. So I played a lot of sport, studied a lot, had to because it was the need of the hour. For the families back in the day, sport wasn't like a big thing then. Good college, moved to a better degree when you finished college and then get a good job. So primarily that was the focus point and continued to be till I had enough in me to like make decisions for my career. Like to solve problems because my brother being an engineer helped me to get myself tuned to like these subjects because he was a math geek. He made me a problem solver because he would teach me in the tone of math and physics every time, even when I went in with very simple equations.
That's how you got into banking?
Banking happened because I didn't want to be an engineer. I saw my brother struggle through his studies and stuff like that. And I chose sports immediately post-college. And I was very keen on being out and being not locked up with books, even though I enjoyed reading. But sport became a part of my life because being a middle child, you tend to have rowdy friends, right? You don't have like very serious friends because you don't have to be responsible for the family because your elder one will be responsible for the family. Predominantly, we are from Gujarat, so you can understand how tough it would have been for me to like move out of the notion that I have to like stay with my dad and move into doing something by myself. So I wanted to become I wanted to do hotel management, become a chef. But my dad back in the day said, he did this in like Gujarati, which meant that my son cannot be a bawarchi. That was what he put it. And now to contradict the whole statement that he made, he runs a passion project of his life. He's into food right now. My father is a bawarchi right now. So he's done that. So, but that's what it is, right? His idea was not about not picking a certain subject. His idea was how can we move out of business, right? So that ideology was tough to crack.
And when did you decide that I'm done with banking and, you made the shift to coaching and you certified in strength and conditioning program? And do you still use those banking skills?
I wouldn't say the banking skills, but I would just say the problem-solving mentality that I had inculcated when I was growing up for sure.
Yeah.
The shift wasn't like I decided that I was done with banking. Like you suddenly start growing passion for something else, right?
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
This built in through a couple of years while I was a part of the banking system. But sometimes you want to pick your passion, right? Something that you would probably see yourself do for the next few years, or maybe like, I didn't even think that I would come this far. I really, like, if I had to look back at 11 years, 12 years when I started this, who would have thought?
So you're affectionately called Coach Mogambo. What's the story behind that?
When I started off, I got my first client. It was a lady. So I was training her, and back in the day, like, the whole aspect of training was that you make somebody feel pain, and like, till they don't feel pain, they've not worked out.
No
Which is-
pain, no gain.
Yeah, like, we used to be like that. Like, we've had a journey of ups and downs and wrongs and right? Like, you learn, and only if you learn through mistakes is when you understand. Like, sometimes theory is great to, like, know, but till you don't get hit. So that we were still on that principle, by the way. We have not become soft. We're still that, but that was our main core of training, that no pain, no gain. So I would train this lady, and she would be on the floor and like be like in pain and be like, I cannot do this. And I would laugh, and I would laugh and laugh looking at that site. And she is like, the only person who can be laughing when somebody else is in pain is you. And that is Mogambo. And this is when,
Mogambo Kushu.
yeah, so that became a part of my thing. And that time Instagram was growing. So immediately I go and I change myself to like Mogambo not 7, right? It was like, it was too funny. Like, my Instagram handle was that. And then when you started realizing that you are a serious part of the journey,
Yeah.
I went and changed it to Coach_Mogambo. And it's been like 10 years now since then. I haven't changed. People laugh about the whole aspect about Coach_Mogambo, and I haven't changed that from the last, 10, 11 years, is also for the fact that I put the word coach in. So I made a lot of conscious decisions in my life, thinking for the fact that can I put this into my collection of content as a coach. And that gave me a lot of answers. So I did not do a lot of stuff that would put it out saying that, okay, this is not coach material, right? So I would, my Instagram videos back in the day were just post stories. There was no stories. It was just post. If you go back to like 2014, 15, quality workout stuff about a coach and how to do an exercise and how and why you should do a particular thing. And then they were fun stuff. But as a coach, also as my personality, we would do a lot of fun. We were 3 boys back in the day doing this. So there were elements of mischief and naughtiness and fun and things out of the coaching context. But that made us what we are. Like, we made the whole vibe to be like, when you're working out, you're like hard at it. But when you're having fun, you're having fun. Till date, we stick to the same principles. Like, our workouts are tough. We are on a banter. We are having fun, but the workouts are tough. And we love our food. We balance it really well, and that's life. Right? So that's how that whole Coach_Mogambo became a part of a scene, that coach and also be a brat at what you're doing. And
I get that. So I also know that you certified at NSCA, and you said that you worked with coaches who were training athletes like Mary Kom.
Yep, Mary Kom was one of them.
Yeah.
So when I began the whole scenes of becoming a trainer and a coach, I knew that after the point you've read the book and the information was very repetitive. But what I think worked for me was to mentor with coaches who've already established in the segment, right?
Yeah.
Declan was Mary Kom's, Declan Liato. He was Mary Kom's trainer. So I used to go in the afternoon and watch him train. He would talk about his training, his
Personal
clients, and I would see what he's doing, why is he doing a particular kind of stuff. And like that, I went to different coaches, not just one. Like, I would interact with coaches, ask them questions, like counter question their methods to understand and dig deep, like why somebody is doing something like that.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. Like, I feel a lot of people just feel that once certification is done and they get that piece of paper and they put it on the wall, they're coaches. No, it does not work like that. Like, a lot of time I also tell, so we used to do these academy classes for future coaches, and we used to do these NSCA, CSCS tutorials and stuff. So I would do these things because I was interested in relearning, and my only thing was to tell these guys that when you finish this, you're just at the starting line. This is not the finish line. It is just you go and stand at the start line. And now people race.
Yeah.
Some are like starting really fast and they fizzle out. Some paced up. Some know where to accelerate and stuff like that. And it's just that like, I mentored with a lot of coaches. Like even my initial mentors who I studied NSCS, CSCS under, I got to give it to them. Like I really...
There's some example, like where you said that you would watch them. And is there something that's, you still don't forget? I mean, you can't forget.
Nothing so significant because I would make notes and go back and read. Like nothing so impactful happened. And also one session is not impactful.
Yeah.
Like I would want to also tell that Mary Com did not become Mary Com because of one training session she had at the gym, right? So it wasn't that. And gym is just a very small part of somebody's life, right? Nobody's become anything because of coming to the gym.
Sure.
There are 30 factors or 40 or 50 or 60 which we don't see, right? And gym becomes a very small part of like success story for them, very little part. So nothing significant like that happened, but you just start seeing how they talk to like if I was thrown to Americom to train in 2014, no way I would have even like uttered a word out because firstly, I wouldn't have been an alpha to like train. Secondly, no experience, no knowledge, no understanding of the sport. And thirdly, like you just ruin your setup. So I'm when I look back at it and I'd be like, I still remember in 2010, 11, I would be fan of like these cricketers and you would like God worship them. And then life brings you to a fact that these guys are your friends now and you text them and they're on call and you're around them. And so it also has nothing to do with the fact that opportunities came or stuff like that. You attract these things, right? Like it's a lot to do with what you want to do and how much are you willing to give in. And so it's like I feel no one significant training session impacted me through the mentorship, but many over a period of time you learned and understood and evolved. And even till date, like sometimes my conversation with just Chris, who I know for like good 13 years, and there will be a point where he'll just say something that will rub on me so hard and I'll be like, thank you so much. I wasn't thinking in... You have information, but sometimes to access it to that depth, you need somebody to like give you that.
Yeah.
You till date, like even now today, I don't program for myself. I have a coach who programs for me. And this is life, right? 2020 to 1918, I had somebody program for me for something else who also won multiple awards, who's the strongest, I think, in powerlifting in India right now. He was my coach for like good 3 years. He would come and train me. Like I have a coach. Coach needs a coach too. So mentoring is not because you go to somebody. Somebody could be coaching you and you understand principles. You understand techniques. They might not be great, but sometimes they just tell you that two things that can define your artillery, right? Like it'll put you in that place where you could use it. And also like when you interact with a team of 15, 20 people in a cricket team, not everybody is same.
Yes.
You have to use 2014 to 2025 to train everybody, right? Sometimes you need everything possible to like train somebody, right? Like this industry is just not about IQ anymore, right? Even sport is not about IQ anymore. It's all about IQ plus EQ, and you got to balance that. Sometimes you need EQ, sometimes you need IQ. And like I've seen so many good, intelligent trainers, but bad on their IQ. And even with sportsmen, like you will see, and once you start doing this psychometric stuff with your clients and with, you start understanding this person, great. But if he fixes his EQ, he can become better than what he was. And sometimes you just need IQ.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just say this guy is just dumb. Like why do we say that? It's because his IQ is bad. He's not able to comprehend, right? So this industry again becomes like how quickly you solve a client's problem.
Yeah. And also, did your personal experience with injuries, did that also push you and motivate you to start this?
I had like a shoulder dislocation, like anterior, posterior, both, like a subluxation if you have to like use the technical slap to it. So and for like good 2 years, I had no way to fix it because the physiotherapy back in 2008, 2009 was very primitive. Like I think they would just put the heat pack, some current waves to like activate those muscles. But we were not big on MRI. We were scared to do these things. Technologically, we weren't great. And like for me, the whole scene was like, how do I solve this for myself? Parents would say, don't play. If you cannot bowl, bat. If you cannot bat, field. If you cannot do change sport. right? That would be the option. We weren't solving problems, we were masking problems, right? And then I would read and research about how I could fix it. And I would see that Americans and the Brits had better way to like fix it. And they were talking about arthroscopy, and this would require me to do a surgery and stuff like that. And then I took a plunge into getting my shoulder fixed, right? I got it operated, arthroscopy, when it was pretty new back in the day also, this bit of like saying that, like keyhole surgery, basically through a keyhole, they would like fix your shoulder and you'd be out. And then like I did a great rehab for like 6 months because I was studying and reading, and I felt this to be like very exciting.
Yeah.
And then it's not like I left banking immediately. Like I still continued studying, right? The studying bit was like the bigger part of life. Like I wanted to study, and luckily at that point in time, I had people who were also plunging along the same time into this industry and taking the brave decisions to move into this field where it was not regarded to be like a very reputable profession, right? Like a personal experience, like my dad was not even like proud of me opening my first gym, by the way. Like he came for the opening of the third one. So you can imagine that it took him so long, and that too it happened when and why is because he was going through knee pain, right? And we fixed it for him. So he understood that this guy is not doing something just out of the blue, and he's like doing something legit. We have quality in our industry, and like, if the quality is right.
And the amazing part when I was doing my research was that I noticed you've always been ahead of time, like the ice bath, and whether it was any, you used a special phantom workout. So, how did you stay ahead of time?
We dug deep, like both my partner Chris and I, we love to like understand the concept beautifully. So we never like framed workout superficially, right? We always wanted to understand how deep could we go and what's the impact, right?
Yeah.
Downstream, upstream, both ways we'd probably want to see how we could impact through a particular workout. Phantom workout was done by my partner Chris. Like it was his baby. It was all about how you could like work on different heart zones, right? BPM came up only like the last couple of years, right? Like, but we were doing this without a gadget. 2016, 2017, right? We were trying to understand how we can elevate zone work through for fat burn, how we could do muscular conditioning, how different zones, different kind of fasting diets, different kind of like products would help you elevate this. We've just shown concepts and we've evolved those concepts into workouts. I started sleep tracking HRV in 2018. HRV is not even grown big yet. It's still not gone there, but BPM tracking, zone tracking, and sleep tracking, and all people are into it right now.
And I think even your approach to fitness has always been to move away from machine-based workouts, right? So was it easy to convince people in the early days to adapt this unconventional way of?
When we started, that was a battle. I wouldn't say that now, because machines are great, good, right?
But is it for everyone?
So depends on what your goal is, right? Back in the day, everybody thought machine was the only way. We broke that as a myth, saying that machine is the only way. Right? Machine is also one of the ways, but it was very dominated with everything back in the day. So we only wanted to break that, saying that you don't need to like go to a gym to be fit. You could do with just functional movements. Functional training also is great, right? But it's not well understood, right? Functional is basically, back in the day, we would talk about saying that your day-to-day movements could be replicated with weights. But now functional is like how you could engage every bit of your body's muscles through movement. So the concept pretty much remains the same. But now we are very goal-based, right? We've evolved. With evolution, you also need to know that you have to use your max to get the max output. Before we could run and lose weight, but that was not fun. Right now, you can do 20 other things to lose weight. You could also add machines in your training. So that back in the day, machine to fight, only machine training being the only way was our battle. But machines are not bad. For example, today you're an athlete, or you're a regular person training like an athlete. Most of them do, right? Which is great. What if you hurt your knee? You will have to do some amount of work with machine, because now you cannot do a lot of functional movement that involve spinal loading, which axial loading, which is racking a barbell on your weight or loading heavy on your arm. So you sit on a machine and do stuff that does not hurt you. So what that means, machine is great. It is aiding you. And if your goal is to like build muscle, machine works the best. If your goal is to be strong, machine plus 5 other things. So it's very goal dependent, right?
For sports, most sports you require to work on smaller muscles for improving skills, for improving your game. What happens then? Do you use machine workouts or you have...
A lot of people think that only when you work a certain exercise, you work a smaller body does not work like that. If you have lift your arm up, your brain fires all the muscles that require you to lift your arm up. Or if you have to like squat down, like your best friend is your mind and your body. Like if you always think that your body is working against you, then there's a problem, right? So if you have to like sit down and lift something up, your body will go down and lift that thing up. Now, because of your bad form or bad like lifestyle, bad training patterns, bad stretching, flexibility, mobility patterns, there are some muscles that are over dominant, some are not working at all. So some are stiff, some are strong, right? So your body will shape into a certain something to pick that muscle up. Now, our job is to see that pattern, which is called biomechanics, to see how this human is moving.
Okay.
And now I know, okay, this person is, say, lifting more from the back muscles and not from the glute muscles, or the knees caving in or knees not caving out or stuff like that. Then you start giving those exercises as a part of your auxiliary workout or your accessory. Right? These are our main workouts. Small muscles are also muscles, but they're small in size. They cannot do a lot of work. Their job is to just support or stabilize. They're not going to be the face of the movement, but they help you. They're important. If you have actually seen, the best of the athletes in the world are not symmetric. Usain Bolt, my all-time athlete that I would probably want to look at it, is that he always had lower back issues, and because he was not in symmetry, he had to do a lot of work on the muscles to keep that from not coming out as an injury. So you will not be dependent on a small muscle. You will be dependent on everything that's available, and your body trains to do that.
Yeah.
Right? You do everything possible to like punch, right? That's all out. Your brain just works like that. It goes to every muscle possible to fix it. But when you do that and come back next day, there are some muscles which will be overworked, underworked, or stiff or tight. Then you do these small muscle exercises. So it's just that.
So you've highlighted some of the modern lifestyle habits on sleep, on food. And I like the way specifically, like most coaches talk about how you need to sleep and get your 8 hours sleep. But you've also mentioned about oversleeping, how it's not, not necessary. So what are your thoughts behind that? Why did you say that?
Sometimes I feel we oversleep is because it's a compensation for something that's not working well in our body, right? Like you're not addressing the issue, the real issue. Why are you so lethargic? Like you have to follow a circadian as an individual, as a human, as somebody who's a living being on this planet. What is keeping you in the bed longer? Like it's a problem. Like, okay, if you had a good 3 days of training sessions, but anything which crosses above 7 to 8 cycles of sleep, which is basically active sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep, and you keep cycling that over, and if you're tracking through device, as an individual, if you're playing or somebody who's serious about working out, should track your sleep, right? And if you're crossing anything above 8 to 9 hours, and if you see those cycles are some 5 or 6, then there's a problem. You're not hitting those right ways of sleeping. Something is wrong. Your body temperature could be bad.
Yeah.
You've eaten too close to your bedtime. So what has happened is, for your body to reach the stage of getting into deep sleep, it's taken 3-4 hours. So, or you've used a lot of screen time in the night, so your eyes are not shut, because so much of blue light exposure, it keeps you up for long. You're deficient with minerals or vitamins that help you with sleeping better or deeper. Right? There's something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a concern. A lot of people feel, I've slept for 10 hours today and it's such a great feeling for me. But if that happened once, it's understood. But older athletes, if they're sleeping that long, then they need to address their timing. Their circadian's off. My bigger worry is when somebody does that, is straight up their circadian's off. So you wake up tired again, and that pattern keeps coming through, is because now you're building a deficit of quality sleep.
Sure.
Right? That sleep deficit is critical. Nobody talks about it, but it is critical.
You've trained national athletes, cricketers, and even film stars. What's it like training programs for such high-performance individuals, and what can everyday people learn from these players?
They're very goal-based, right? Like the athletes have their own goals, their own weaknesses. It's primarily based on an assessment. So the film star's goal would be like, I want big arms, big chest, abs, right? Athletes would be like, I want strong legs, strong jump, strong core, strong rotation. So we try to figure out what they need. Like, it's not even about the sport anymore. Like if you say, cricket, I only need is core strength or balance. It's not true. right? Every sport needs everything, right? Cricket might dominate a certain thing, but we don't do specific to the sport. We do specific to the athlete. Like sport specific is not something that we believe in. As me as a coach core, I don't believe in something coach a sport specific. We believe in an athlete specific. Like an athlete as a footballer, we know for a fact that this athlete needs to be running really fast, needs to be having strong knee extensors, really good stable hips, core strength and stuff like that. So we will train an athlete like that. We just won't say, okay, footballer, I'll just train his legs. No, it does not work like that. Or you just need to kick, or we make him do drills that mimic a football game. No, we don't do that.
So what's the plan, future plans for outfit?
We're creating something in longevity and performance. So we want to club both of it together. That's our plan. We've been reading, blogging, researching. With whatever access we have, whatever educational material we have, like I want to call it Longevity Performance Center at some point in time, where we work on human lifespan, not in terms of the age, but in terms of the quality, and make them rich with performance, even at the point where they're 70 years old or 65 years old or 80 years old, perform the best possible way. So we want to make that as a scene. That's how we started doing 1 meal a day. I don't know if you know about fasting for 1 meal a day, and we don't do intermittent fasting. We do restrictive eating. So we have a window of say 45 minutes to an hour, eat your food once a day. I run a program, it's called Welcome to the Jungle now. It used to be called Shredville back in the day. So we go back to the old ways of living. Like how would you live if you're living in jungle? Like it not literally, but the inspiration is from that bit of life where we train hard. Imagine if you were in a jungle, would you be thinking constantly about food? Just because you have access to food does not mean you keep eating on it. So we eat when we need to eat. So we teach how to fast. People don't know how to fast. Like a lot of people feel that fasting is basically just not eating food, but it's not true. And also they diet when they have to eat, which I don't believe in, right? Like you need to eat wholesome. You need to eat till you're full. And you eat better. The problem, right? People think that they're eating is not the problem. Eating wrong things at the wrong time and eating food at the wrong time. That is the problem. People don't understand the timing of food. We eat close to bedtime and our food is so carb rich. We have sugar in our blood. Our HRV is spiking. Our insulin's going haywire. So morning you wake up, your insulin's down. That's why low BP and low sugar. And then you suddenly feel that, oh, I'm very tired, lethargy. And then you say, oh, when you eat food, we eat so much carbs in our breakfast. Like, why do you need to eat a big bowl of fruit when you've eaten good amount of carbs in the night? Eat your carbs. I'm not against carbs. I'm not against sugar. My battle is not against that. It's the quantity and the timing. We don't wake up and need to eat food. Because of that insulin activity through the day, our cortisol is high in the day, and like we wake up with a puffy face and water. These are the things that we need to fix.
Sure.
Fasting helps you get to that bit of life. So we try to like read about it as much as we can and understand that fasting is a very beautiful place to be in for longevity and performance.
And what would you like your legacy to be? Not just as a coach, but as someone who's reshaping how India thinks about fitness.
For me, back in the day when I wanted to be a sprinter, represent India for Olympics and run 100 meter, it was a big dream for me back in the day, and I couldn't do it because of ABC reasons, and that's okay. But I always dreamt of like training young kids to understand that what it is to be a sprinter, because that's always going to be close to my heart. Like open a track and field academy, have a huge full-blown center for it, do this out of like love for the sport.
What's one workout you secretly dread but still do?
Speed intervals on tempo for running.
Okay.
They're like you run 100 meters, break for 20 seconds, run 100 meters. You keep doing this till you can't do this anymore.
Your guilty pleasure food after a long day?
Dahi puri, yeah.
If not fitness, what alternate career would you be crushing?
Or something in hotel for sure, because that's my passion for it. But something to do with food for sure.
One fictional character you'd love to train?
I would train Mogambo only. Like I would, like since it's been a part of my life, I would just say I would train Mogambo and see.
Favorite hype song when you need a boost?
Right now it's With or Without You from YouTube that is playing in my head.
How challenging, banking deadlines or burpees?
I think it's banking deadline. Burpees are not challenging. I just don't like them.
If the outfit were a movie, who would play you?
I think it would be Varun Dhawan.
One fitness myth you'd ban forever?
Sweating is not burning fat.
Sprinting, modeling, coaching, what gives you the biggest adrenaline rush?
Sprinting, yeah, like it just is have that one thing that they will always fall back to is for me sprinting.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I learned so much today from you.
At some point in time in my life, I look back to this interview and I will put this up saying that 2025, it was already told and said and an Indian would do it and an Indian did it.